this is a very bad idea. Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be doing a highly anticipated video by some people. Today I'm going to be explaining why these books are bad. I'm just making this video to explain why I hate these books and why I hate Sarah J. Maas's work. I think that there aren't enough people that are expressing their opinion about these books in an honest way. I feel like these books have been completely overrated. I feel like these books were just on a hype train that should have stopped but never did. Like, if you know anything about YA fiction, you would know that these books are like the Bible for the YA. I don't know why. I started reading these books back when like the series was still ongoing, because I've seen so many people like raving about it. People were like making these books out to be like the new Harry Potter or something, and I was like, well, you know, like if everyone's saying it's so good, it must be incredibly good and I have to read it. I read it, I loved the first book, then I read the second book. I didn't love it as much as the first, but I still thought it was good. Then I went to this book, Heir of Fire, and I started feeling like something wasn't going in the right direction, and I started having doubts about it, and I was like, well, you know, you should shut up about it though, because like everyone is still saying that this book is amazing, so you should just, you know, follow everyone's opinion. And then this book came out, and just everything came crushing down. Like everything got ruined, and I hated it. And like Empire of Storms came out. I'd never read Sarah J. Maas ever again. And you might be saying, you know, she has made other books, it doesn't mean that they're as bad as these books. But like, listen. Listen, I read A Court of Thorns and Roses and I liked it, and then I learned about what happens in the next book, and I didn't even want to involve myself with it at all. Like, I am making this video so that I can be rid of this madness that goes on with Sarah J. Maas, because I haven't been silent about how much I dislike these books. And this is why some people are expecting this video, because they want to understand why I hate her book so much. Well, I hope this video satisfies you. I'm sure that some people are going to hate me for this. Disclaimer, I guess, if you don't have half a brain, this is not me attacking the writer, this is not me attacking you, this is me expressing my opinion about these books, which is negative. This is me explaining why these books aren't good, in my opinion, again. And I find them problematic. This is why I'm making this video. And I feel like if I make this video and put it out there, I'm gonna be done with all this Sarah J. Maas thing, and I don't want to deal with it ever again. I don't annotate books usually. I'm not one of those people that would always have annotations on a book, whether they like it or not. The more annotations I put in a book, the less I like it. So you can understand how much I like these books by how many annotations they have. Literally, they're full of them. Like, what is going on? I don't know. Let's find out. If you haven't read Heir of Fire and Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas, aka the third and fourth book in the Throne of Glass series, I suppose you should exit and read them, because I'm going to spoil things for you. Granted, I don't think these books are worth reading. I suppose that if you are considering reading them and you haven't, then this is the time for you to leave, because I'm going to spoil things for you. We're going to analyze this shit. Okay, let's start with Air of Fire. By the way, I revised my notes for these books. I did not reread them because I would never do that to myself again. The writing in Air of Fire is not, you know, it's not that bad. Again, it's the third book, so it's when shit started to get shitty. Ever since Eileen found out that she's Fae, these new words made themselves known into the vocabulary of these books, and they're like, he spoke the common tongue and his accent was subtle, lovely, if she was feeling generous enough to admit it, a soft, rolling purr. First of all, this is very weird to read. First of all, like, I don't get why you would describe someone's voice as a rolling purr. This is not like the first time this is mentioned. This starts becoming an ongoing thing where purr has made itself as popular as say or do, and like it's weird. It's weird. If she wanted to make this word and growl and purr into something that happens with Fae only, then you're wrong, because in page 28, if you're still alive by then, Dorian purred. Why is Dorian purring? If you want to say says like with sweetness, like said sweetly, like why does it have to be purred? Like it's weird and uncomfortable. Okay, so this is a scene with Aiden and Dorian. He says, perhaps I'll be your whore someday too. If you're still alive by then, Dorian purred. Okay, well, first of all, this is way out of character for Dorian, because Dorian, I don't think that he's the type of person to say, if you're still alive by then, you'll be my whore. Like, what? Aiden calls himself a whore, and he's called the other land's whore, and I don't understand why he's called that. This could be a thing where men sleeping with women and men is something that in this era is considered taboo, and men are being ridiculed by it, by being called whores or something. But it's never really explained. Doesn't it make you uncomfortable? Like, bisexual people in this era are whores. Great, this is very healthy representation. I love it. In Air of Fire, Dorian has a love interest. I don't understand why he has a love interest, because he was Selena's love interest in the first book, and in here we have this girl named Shorsha, or Shorcha, something like that, and they have this romance in the course of this book that ends with her being beheaded. First of all, I don't understand why you would do that to Dorian, because first of all, like, this romance is so underdeveloped. Like, it is so badly written. I feel like she just wanted us to get rid of the idea that Dorian would be with Selena, so she was like, okay, we just gotta make up another character for him to be with, so fans can understand that he does not love Selena anymore. Hello. And I'm like, why would you do that? Like, do you really think that we're that stupid that we wouldn't like accept an in-depth character development about how he's letting go of Selena? This romance is so weird, because like, again, it's so underdeveloped. This book has like 2 storylines going. 2. This is not enough. This is not enough for you to make up a romance for a character that was really in love with someone else in the last book. So why? This is so unnecessary. No. This thing with the writing when it comes to Fae, the purr, the growl, the possessive, it's so strange. It's so strange because, you know, in one moment we consider these characters human, and then we have such scenes like this, primal anger sharpened in his gut, brimming with a territorial, possessive need. Not a need for her, but a need to protect, a male's duty and honor. What? First of all, does this sound sexist only to me? Because this is why it doesn't make sense. This fae species doesn't make sense to me. Because you have these people being people, and then you have these people acting like they're fucking animals with instincts and primal needs and possessiveness, and the fact that males of these species are supposed to protect the females. Like, this does not make sense for you to apply to a human species, because we have evolved in a way where men and women are supposed to be equal. Men do not have these, you know, need to protect and provide for their wife, and such a concept is very strange in a book series where the main character is an assassin that's supposed to be independent. And I don't get it. Why is this here? Why do we have to deal with this? Because she's fae? What does it mean that she's fae? That when she assassinates somebody, then she's gonna cry into her man's arms because he's the male, so he has to protect her? Like, I am baffled. It's excusing toxic masculinity in a toxic relationship because, you know, it's the animalistic instincts. What can we do? They're possessive. It's in their instinct. It's in their nature. They're fae. It's a no from me. We have a gay couple. Now, let's get into this. We know that fae have mates. And in Airfire, we meet a couple that is male. There is homosexuality in fae, so they could have a mate of the same gender. So this is great, thank you, but how does this work when you have mentioned in your other fae series that mates have one purpose: to breed? So this is probably a call for diversity. She was like, okay, I killed off my black character in the second book. I need to do something so that people can take me as a diverse author. And what did she do? She put this gay couple into her story that does not make sense with her rules of this species. And then she just doesn't write about them anymore. Like, I kid you not, this couple doesn't exist in the next book. This couple existed for like 2 pages. 2 pages! 2 pages! And that's supposed to mean that she's inclusive? You don't have to be diverse to be a good author. But if you choose to do diversity, do it right. Since it doesn't make sense with your rules, you're never gonna write about it again. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay? Okay? Besides, you only write about straight romance. You don't have one character in the story that is not straight. You don't have to check out the gay couple point to be cool. Like, don't do it, okay? Like, don't do it. Selena says, you once told me that when you find your mate, you can't stomach the idea of hurting them physically. Supposedly Rowan and Selena are the endgame couple that, wow, plot twist, they're actually mates, even though his mate died many years ago. I'm sure it's supposedly a backstory thing that makes sense in Empire of Storms that I'm really not into reading. Like, I can live without that. Selena and Rowan literally want to kill each other. Oh my god. And this is a point that leads into how wrong this romance is, which I'm going to get into in a second. So you know, Selena, in going into this book, she's heartbroken because she was with Cale and Cale did some shit. She broke up with him. She never wants to see him again. Got it? Great, thank you. We meet this character and we hear that he is from my sister Maura's bloodline. He is my nephew of sorts, a member of my household. He's an extremely distant relation of yours. There is some ancient ancestry linking you. So this is my first point against this romance, the fact that they're distantly related. They're distantly related. I hope you can understand what this means. So now starts the journey of the abuse. It starts with emotional abuse, it goes on with physical abuse, and it just goes on forever because this doesn't end ever. So the first example for emotional abuse is on page 103. Powerful, rough hands under her shoulder, the world tilting and spinning, and then that tattooed, snarling face in hers. Let him take her head between those massive hands and snap her neck. Pathetic, he spat, releasing her. Spineless and pathetic. So this is great foundation for an amazing romance, people. Take notes. Next we have some physical abuse in page 159. He staggered a step, the teeth ripped her skin. She struck his chest. She didn't feel the pain, didn't care about the blood or the flash of light. Great. I really ship those two. Anyways, next. You're worthless. Tell me something I don't know. He says, you would probably have been more useful to the world if you'd actually died 10 years ago. Listen, these are some heavy words. Okay, these are very heavy words. You can't just turn this relationship into a romantic relationship but in the course of 2 books that have 3 storylines going on. You don't have enough development for it to be normal. Like, you can't tell me that someone that's going to beat you up until you faint, someone that's gonna tell you that you should have died when your parents were assassinated and you escaped. You don't tell me that you can fall in love with this person. Hatred felt like a strong word, as she couldn't quite hate someone who had saved her, but dislike fit pretty damn well. Let's analyze how he saves her, because he doesn't. This is my review on Goodreads about Heir of Fire, and I mentioned we're supposed to think that him saving her is this amazing act, this great act of courage, but if we think about it, he is Maeve's, or however you pronounce her name, knight. He's her knight. Whenever he's inefficient, this woman whips him. You are really going to tell me that I am supposed to be thankful that he saved her when he's being given the duty to be her mentor? Like, and like, if she had died, Maeve would have fucking killed him. Like, this is not an act of like, I didn't want you to die, so I saved you. This is an act of, shit, I went so far that you almost died. I'm going to be fucking punished if you do. I have to save you. This is what this is. Stop romanticizing this relationship. It's not cute. Please. Please, it's not cute. It's not. I am still considered young by the standards of my kind. She was a girl to him. Even when she became an old woman, if she lived that long, she'd still be a child in comparison to his lifespan. So not only are they related, not only are they very abusive towards each other, he considers her a child. No matter how old she gets, she'll still be a fucking child to him because he's so much older than her. Oh my god. Then there's more emotional abuse. Honestly, does anybody care anymore? I don't care what you have been through, what you do with your life. The sooner you can sort out your whining self-pity, the sooner I can be rid of you. You are nothing to me and I do not care. Great. Instead of reminding me again and again how rotting worthless and awful and cowardly I am, believe me, I can do the job well enough on my own. So just hit me, because I'm damn tired of trading insults. Selena reaches a point where she's literally asking Rowan to hit her because she's tired of fighting him verbally. People shipped this. But even before this game became canon, people shipped this. I am worried. Selena is breaking down in the kitchen. She doesn't value her life anymore. And you know, Rowan learns of this. He decides it's a good idea to use one of her friends as part of their training. And he basically changed this person somewhere over a frozen lake, and Selena has to save him without setting him to the bottom and killing him. She's unstable with her magic, by the way, and she's mentally ill and unstable, and he gives her this mission, you know, save your friend or he dies because the lake is gonna melt or whatever. And her magic is unstable, so she's gonna lose another friend that is going to harm her mentality even more. Why is this ignored? I don't get it. She saves him, thankfully, and you know, in the process she burns like one of his tattoos or something. And what, oh my god, he has to re-tattoo his tattoo, and she's like, I'm sorry, like I shouldn't have burned your tattoo. And he's like, I deserve it. And she's like, doesn't mean I can't feel bad. Like, doesn't mean I can't feel bad for someone that risked one of my friends' lives when he knew I am unstable with my magic and there was a fat chance I couldn't save him. And it doesn't matter that this person is beating me up and doesn't care about how well I am in my mental or physical state. I feel bad because I burned his tattoo. Gosh darn it. This woman is supposed to be a cruel assassin. By the way, another quote that I found and I find completely hilarious, coming from a person that's going to be her husband, it gives me comfort to know that people like you have a special place in hell waiting for them. And then there's like a quote out of the blue that she's like jealous of the woman looking at him and she wants to claw their faces off. Wow, amazing, amazing. I am stunned. This book is so well written and I ship those two. I hope they become canon. Next, Queen of Shadows, and this is where the shit really gets real and bad. So since we were talking about the romance, let me continue about the romance. The first note I have here in this book is pink, which is the cue for bad romance. Rowan definitely would have kicked her ass for that once he'd recovered himself. It was enough to make her glad she'd asked him to stay behind. So she's saying that she's glad Rowan isn't with her because he would have beat her up, and she's scared of him beating her up again. Okay. Kale says, about tomorrow, you won't touch Dorian. And she's like, me? Never, Eileen purred. It's not a joke. You don't hurt him. Eileen and Dorian are supposed to be like best friends. Eileen and Dorian were so close in the first book. And I feel like Eileen never would have said this about Dorian. Like, why would she joke about hurting Dorian? Like, this makes no sense because she's supposed to want to save him. Why is this dialogue here? I feel like in this book, Selena changed so much. And I don't mean that in a good way, obviously. He suddenly becomes this whiny girl. She thinks she's so entitled and so powerful, and she becomes this girl who's like thinks everything is a fucking game and is a completely new character, and it doesn't make sense with all the character writing that we've had so far for her. People claim that this is because this change here in her character is because she has finally embraced her Eileen identity, which Selena never disposed of her Eileen identity. She just took on another name and she became an assassin because she wanted to like get revenge or something like along those lines. And embracing your identity, embracing your new name shouldn't mean that you become from this person. Mental illness is handled horribly. Like, Air of Fire is supposed to be the book in which Selena feels like very depressed. It's never mentioned that she's depressed. And when she gets out of it, it's like a click, it's like a switch. It's a switch, and by depression, I am Eileen Galathanius or whatever, and I'm going to be the queen of this fucking world. I'm disoriented because this is not the protagonist I knew. Sarah J. Maas has this habit of making every single one of her female characters seem like this is some goddess. This is the warrior that's gonna save the world. She ends like every chapter with like an epic sounding phrase. And here's the problem with that. When you emphasize everything, you don't emphasize anything. If every character is like this queen of darkness, if she's every single character is death incarnate, then why are they special? Since every single one of them is like this, why are we supposed to think, oh my god, you know, she is the savior, or like, oh my god, she is amazing, because every single one of them is amazing. You see what I'm trying to say here? You see what I'm getting at? She uncoiled from the chair in a smooth, feline motion before plopping down on the mattress. And this is not like the only time. Trust me when I tell you that in like every single chapter of this book, someone is being feline-ish. Like they move like they're cats. Great for you to say that once to make, you know, their movement seems so smooth. Like for an assassin, she moves like a cat. She's like soundless, is very flexible or whatever. But for you to say it in for every like character all the time, it's tiring and it doesn't work anymore. Turning to the point about diversity, Elide meets Manon. Description of how she sees Manon is very, like, I feel like this is queer baiting. Eyes like burned gold, a face so impossibly beautiful that Elide was struck dumb by it. A lean, owned body, a steady fluid grace in every movement, every breath. Human only in shape, immoral and predatory in every other sense. This description made me like twitch my eye. Like this sounds like queer baiting to me. Every other character that has met Manon or whatever, it does not have this wow, beautiful goddess like impression of her. And even Dorian, who's supposed to be like Manon's love interest for this book, like, yeah, he's like shocked, but like he's the love interest, okay? He's the love interest. He's supposed to feel struck but dumb by Manon's beauty, right? yet we have a light being struck down by it too. So I don't know, man. This is very obviously queer baiting to me. I don't know if anyone else agrees. Please let me know. No. Even common sense was at a loss for words. Yes, this is a literal quote from the book. Even common sense was at a loss for words. Thank you, that's true. Common sense is at a loss for words for your books. That's true, true. Thank you for realizing it. Orkan, with his unending cold rage and a talent for killing gifted to him by Hellas himself. Who is Hellas? Like, who are all these Hellas and people that she's coming up with to be like, oh, the gods gave him this and the Hellas gave him, like, I do not know of this lore. You have given me nothing to go by, and I don't understand why you're using these words. Like, this feels like there's something missing. You haven't explained this to me. Am I supposed to take guesses that this is some god that they think is gifting people with killing? This is bad. I don't understand how people read this and think that this is greatly written and a great world building, because it's not. In these women's books, we don't have a timeline. Like, we don't have this medieval times, because then we have, you know, more evolved technology, and we have very short lace nightgowns. Like, I feel like this is lingerie, and I should thank the gods every damn day for the small mercy of giving her a friend who has her match, her equal, and who would never look at her with horror in his eyes. Interesting, considering they beat each other up and he literally was disgusted at the existence of her in the last book. Aedion wanted to meet Selena very badly, and in this book they finally have their reunion, you know, but it doesn't really go as well as we hoped, because suddenly Aedion is one of those, oh, possessive fae, and what? You gave him the blood oath? I was supposed to take the blood oath. And there's this weird, like, match. Like, there's this weird fight between Rowan and Aedion, because Rowan has the blood oath. So they're essentially fighting over Selena. And I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. It doesn't have the setup to be this weirdly, like, aggressive character. And so we're supposed to think, you know, he's fae, and fae are full of toxic masculinity. So let's just portray that here, because Aedion you might have thought that he was a good man, but he is fae. Let the toxic masculinity begin. This plot point about the blood oath. How dare you let him take it? I dare because it is my blood to take. I dare because you did not exist for me then. Even if neither of you had taken it yet, I would still give it to him, because he is my Karanam. He has earned my unquestioning loyalty. So basically what is happening is he's blaming her, and he's saying, how could you offer him the blood oath? You're supposed to give it to me. And she's like, I decided it's my blood, blah 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 blah. I am here to remind you that she did not offer the blood oath. Rowan took it, and if you want proof, go to page 516 of Air Fire. He's saying, no, she's saying, I don't want you enslaved to me. Please don't do this. I will give you anything else you ask, but not this. Rowan did not receive the blood oath because Eileen wanted to give it to him. It's because he took it and he didn't leave her with any other choice. There's a chapter, 34 to be exact, in which Eileen and Rowan basically go out on a date, even though they're preparing to defeat their enemies and overthrow the kingdom. They'll go out on a date in the city, in plain sight. Because you're older and stronger doesn't mean you're entitled to order me around. It's exactly because of those things I can do whatever the hell I please. So because he's strong and old, he thinks that he can control her and tell her what to do, like she's his puppet. This is great. He's over controlling, and I love that in a relationship. So we have something that is very concerning to me. How utterly unaware of the control he had to exercise every day, every hour, to keep her at arm's length, to keep himself from touching her. So he's saying he's trying to control himself from raping her. He would have made her go on a run or chop wood for hours or pull extra kitchen duty, and all of that because what? She's hot. Because she's hot and sexy. So he's like, oh my fucking god, how dare she! He would punish her for this and made her go run and blah blah blah. What was going through her mind writing this? I really want to know. And we have some other weird shit in the writing, like his chuckle echoed through her bones and her blood. I don't understand how chuckle can be echoed in your body and blood system and your bones, but I suppose this is supposed to be a cool metaphor that we're supposed to be impressed by. Rowan and Eileen talk it to each other through their telepathic link, which has not been explained ever why this exists. It started off as like, I read his face, he would be saying something like this, and I would reply to something like this. But then this developed into full-blown conversations between looks, which doesn't make sense. So they have to have a telepathic link to talk like this. Like, you cannot expect me to believe that she's reading his face and they're having a dialogue just by reading each other's faces. Like, that's paranoid. That's paranoid. This thing here is very ridiculous. They're talking about her underwear in front of the enemy, in front of Arabin. So they're having this telepathic conversation again. I hope it is a telepathic conversation, because the other case scenario is insane. It would be even scandalized to learn I'm not wearing any undergarments beneath this dress. And he's startled, blah blah blah. And the enemy is right there. And they're talking about how she's naked under the dress. What am I reading? What am I reading? So this is like a plot thing that I am really not gonna get into, because I don't even have the strength to analyze it, because I don't care at this point. But there's another inconsistency in the plot because of something dumb that Eileen does, because she's just fucking dumb at this point. We have this whole depiction of men in Sarah J. Maas's books. They're just these masculine and powerful men that they're fucking beautiful and the most powerful in all the land of the world, in the universe. And that is just so fucking unrealistic and weird that I don't understand why she feels like she has to do this for every love interest. We can just... we'll be fine with a normal person. We will be fine if he's not the most beautiful, powerful man in all the kingdom. We will be fine without that. Stop. There's another thing in the plot that doesn't make sense. I'm not gonna get into it. I'm gonna read you some examples. I've heard other people talk about this as well. I'm just gonna add on to it, I guess. There's a very, static and very boring writing that's like this. They didn't meet her eyes, didn't utter a word. And then today, more news, more requests. None of them replied, none of them said. Do you hear how tiring and boring this is to read? Because it is. Because this is not good writing, and this is something that would have been fixed in the editing process of this book, but they don't edit her books anymore because she is sure to be a best-selling author until the world ends. So why edit her books? Oh my god, I forgot about this. Okay, so I'm just gonna read this and leave. I want to take my time with you to learn every inch of you, and this apartment has very thin walls. I don't want to have an audience when I make you moan, Eileen. I want to go home. Oh my god, it's over. Oh my god. I don't know what else to say as a last note. Perhaps don't read these books unless you want to make rant videos about them. I do not intend on reading the next books because I'm not crazy. And I've heard some nasty things about the next books as well. So I'd rather stay away from them. This you don't understand. This is such a weight lifted off my shoulder. Wow! So I have abused them, like literally how Rowan abuses Eileen, I abuse these books. So thank you for watching. If you share any opinions with me, then tell me in the comments, so we can discuss this possibly if you want to. If you disagree with me and you are totally enraged by what I said, leave. I don't care what you do. I expressed my opinion. I let it out into the world. Some people were going to agree with me. Some people are going to disagree. But that's fine because I'm not going to read Sarah J Maas ever again in my life. Thank you for staying up until this point because I'm sure that this video is going to be extremely long. And yeah, I will see you soon. Tell me what you would like to see from me in the comments. Subscribe, like, maybe, and share, because I know some of you do and I'm very thankful for it. Have a nice day!